It's my privilege to introduce Mr. Bhupen Dubey, the Global CEO of Advanta Seeds, a UPL Group company. His successful leadership is driven by a strong understanding of farmers' needs and a passion for sustainable agriculture. Mr. Dubey holds over 30 years of experience in agriculture, supply chain, and food production from companies including Haste, Aventis, and Bayer, and has played a vital role in managing and integrating companies within the UPL group, such as Advanta UPL, Golden Seeds, and Unicorn. He has been driving essential integrations to bring profitable and sustainable growth for the UPL business. As a testimony to his brilliant leadership, Advanta Seeds was ranked number 4 in South and Southeast Asia and number 5 global seed company in the Access to Seeds Index in 2019 for contributing to UN SDGs and food security. We are privileged to have this opportunity to listen to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Welcome again, sir. Dr. Bhupen, sir. We are all very eager to listen to you. And the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Vilas Tonapi, and all the office bearer of the Karnataka Association, and all the participants from industry, academia, policy group. At the outset, I would like to thank a lot for this platform and opportunities to share my thought on the most relevant topic of the day. I have been allocated 45 minutes. I would expand my thoughts on the topic given for about 20 minutes, and I would love to have comments, remarks, or questions, if any, so we can exchange, the exchange remain more vibrant and two-way and more relevant. Thank you once again. The topic of the day is climate change, challenges before seed industry, farming, and humanity. Very broad topic. I think this topic can take a couple of days actually, workshop around. So therefore challenge is to really squeeze into 20 minutes, and in a way it's tough, but it's also in a way easy, so that we don't expand in too much of detail. I see on the panel and various topic, top-notch professionals, academic and experts on the subject. I wish I could really spend complete time and listening to all the experts here, unable to do that. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible, sir.
Suddenly I lost the video on my screen. Okay,
audible, yeah.
Wonderful. So climate change, challenges before seed industry, farming, humanity, and how to usher in our strategies for sustainable food and nutrition security is the topic. So how I think climate change latest report, some of us may have seen it, IPCC report, very eye-opening and very detailed report, very interesting. Of course, there are people around the world, two schools of thought, as we know. One school of thought believes that climate change is nothing new. If you look at 100 to 100 years, it's not a time scale to look at. You must look at millennia, 1,000 years, 2,000 years, 4,000 years, and these cycles keep repeating. One school of thought. Another school of thought is already, which is more scientific, robust. They have developed a lot of data. The impact of climate on life in general on the planet Earth, and they are also quite convincing. But in day-to-day life, practically we know what is happening with our life and our agriculture we live in. So it's a reality for us, whether one believes in or one does not believe in, it's impacting us. It's not that future tense, it's already impacting all of us. Let's say how this climate change is impacting seed industry. And so the question is that how relevant is current portfolio of the product and services? The question you have to ask in this scenario, and I am asking myself and our professional team, that how relevant seed industry's product portfolio and service portfolio to the farming community under changing climate is the question we keep asking ourselves, and realize that probably our portfolio of the product and services are not adequate. We need to really make it more relevant to the current scenario. We are observing that the product portfolio which we have right now, some of them are losing relevance very fast. Give you some example. We have a business in Australia, like many seed industry partners they have. In last 6 years, when I look back, there are 3 years extremely bad. Drought, unprecedented, and they have very good data recording system for more than 100 years. ABARES, A-B-A-R-E-S, is a data domain, and they record very meticulously. And when you look at that, the last 3 years, in the last 6 years, 3 years drought were unprecedented. Once in 100 years, 1 in 120 years kind of events occurring there. And another 2 or 3 years, let's say 2.5 years last, is a fantastic rainfall. And in fact, last month itself, they are breaking the record every week. Unprecedented rain in the area, which never happened there. So that is a reality of life. I consider Australia as a agriculture point of view, seed industry point of view, at the forefront of our survival battle. And we have a lot of lessons to learn there. So we realize that our portfolio is not enough, services are not enough. So it is a real challenge for us, but also it provides us the opportunity. I will come on that topic a little later, just to scan the challenges which we eat for the seed industry. When I look at the farming, climate change, what challenge it is posing to farming as a profession. We know around the world, farming is the single biggest private enterprise. And there are two groups of farmers there. One groups are into OECD countries, which are rich countries, and their farming has reached to a highest productivity level possible at this point in time. Going beyond that is becoming too tough. Giving example, corn in US is on an average 10 metric ton per hectare, and growing beyond that, of course, there are aberrations. There are cases of 5 ton as well as cases of 14 ton also, but on an average. And going beyond that number to, let's say, 2% or 3% also is a big challenge for the crop breeders, the corn breeders, and the technology development team. They are working hard, and of course, there are some breakthrough coming up, but there's reality today. But developing world, where most of, let's say, Latin America, Asia, Africa comes in, huge, vast population and the land mass, there the average productivity would be in the range of 3 to 4 metric ton per hectare. So there is a good chance really we can increase our productivity significantly. So that is a reality of the farming. So how do we make farming profitable in both the systems, the developing world as well as developed world? How do we make sure that it remains profitable? Well, in OECD countries, the farmers are highly commercial. When we talk to them, they realize that we are talking to a businessman. They understand their P&L very clearly for each farm and very, very meticulous in taking the decisions. And therefore, they are constantly reinventing their the business practices, farming practices, and looking for new innovative ways of handling the new challenges coming up. Real challenge is actually in the developing economies where the farmers in many parts of the world are subsistence farmers, small farmers, 1 hectare, 2 hectares, 3 hectares, maximum 8, 10 hectares. In this scenario, access to capital becomes a challenge, access to technology, access to hand-holding while changing the current practice, the new practice, which is always a risky. And therefore, how do we make sure that when climate change challenges their balance sheet of farmer, how do we make sure that farming is profitable for both the group of the farmers is a challenge which is to the farming community. And what is a challenge to, let's say, humanity? I think for humanity, we require all three. We require food, and therefore we require farming. Unless and until farming is profitable, there is no sustainability of the stakeholder in the industry lose their motivation, their interest. What for we do it if we are not going to make money out of it? And another important aspect is the health of the earth, or the planet. So the challenge for the humanity that climate change is posing in totality is how do we balance interest of planet Earth, Mother Earth, well-being, health, so that while we all leave this planet, next generations do not blame us that we did not take enough attention or enough care of the earth. Sometimes this sentence looks very arrogant. Actually, who are we to take care of earth? Earth knows how to take care of itself. There's a reality. Earth doesn't need us. We need earth. So therefore, understanding it and making sure that we don't damage it or try to reverse the damage we have been causing it via our practices, our living practices, the way we live our life in this part of the world. Therefore, making sure that we damage less, and whatever damage we have done to earth, we try to recover from that, help it in a manner we can. So earth health is important. Subsequently, if we take care of that, the health and welfare of the humanity and the other lives dependent on the humanity and ecosystem is taken care of. And this too is possible also provided we continue to have the business in a profitable manner. Farming business as well as all the businesses dependent on farming. Seed industry is one of them. In other words, challenge for the humanity is how do we align true sense, practical sense, and not only lip service, the interest of planet, earth, people, and the profit. So these are the three challenges I can, I can visualize in a limited time which we have, and how do we address them? Strategies to address these challenges. Bad news is that the challenges are once in a generation kind of thing, very severe. But good news is that we have a science and technology and tools available so far we have accumulated. If we can use those tools creatively in a cooperative manner, I think these challenges, we are going to manage it very, very successfully. Give an example of seed industry. Some of us are part of it. What is happening in seed industry around the world? My favorite, statement, which I always keep myself grounded on, and the question which I keep asking myself and my team, and some of you they have heard also in our private conversation. I ask the question that globally we have a more than $85 trillion economy. Out of that, depending on the sources you are reading, agriculture economy or GDP is in the region of $4 to $5 trillion. So in 85 trillion, $4 to $5 trillion is less than, is in the same range roughly, let's say 4% of all. Question is, additional $4 or $5 trillion economy will come from which part of the world? And the question we have to ask ourselves, and the answer will be different depending on the people, where they are living, where they are working, their exposure to life and of business, etc. My understanding is that, as I explained, OECD countries, about 30 members, they have reached to a level what they can, the productivity level. They are still working and they are successful here and there, but we have a big opportunity lying in a non-OECD countries, which are Latin America, Asia, and Africa. I think a significant part of next $5 trillion economic value can be created in this part of the world. And therefore, and we have a tool like this. I always give you an example that if in US corn farmer is producing 10 metric ton per hectare, India range 3 to 4 metric ton, as I understand my last reading is. What is that US farmer is doing and what Indian farmer can do? There are two things basically. Genetics, we have a global collaborations around the world, and there is flowing quite nicely collaboration among scientific community, germplasm, etc. So we have access to it. The question is enabling environment for the businesses. That the farmer require a good commodity price to secure his production, gets the market at the right price. This is what is important. I think India government was trying to do these farm laws, I believe, and they were very positive. It got derailed because of the various reasons. We all know it, but I'm sure that will be there's a need of the hour. The reform has to come at the central level or the state level. If that happens, farmers who are involved in this corn business will be incentivized the way they are right now. Actually, today in the world, agriculture commodity prices are unprecedented. Demand, therefore, in India also, and like any part of the world, seed demand is very, very high. So they are going to plant, and there's the profitability is there. Tools are available. They will use the best seeds available, best fertilizer, agrochemical, harvesting technology, pre and post, etc. They will adopt the technology, and therefore they are going to make it 4 or 5 ton, going up to 6 or 7 ton, or 8 or 9 ton. There's a huge opportunity available. Any part of the developing economy, you go there. So to my mind, seed industry depends on the farmer, and this is a macro level scenario. What seed industry need to do? I think what we are doing is that two teams are extremely important to maintain the seed supply chain, the SPR, seed production research. I think this is an area which requires tremendous amount of investment and making our team stronger and stronger, because SPR team is a team which identify the geography where genetics provide optimum output. So when a breeding team, R&D team are producing new product, advancing new product, they require those genetics to express its full potential in a right environment. So what is the right environment at a right cost? All right, is a big challenge every day for the commercial organizations who are dependent on the survival on the PLN. If in a given year they produce profit, they survive. If they don't, organizations do not survive. So seed industry in a private sector I think they need to really pay attention to the SPR, strengthen those technical teams, expand the new areas, new countries. Sometimes the tendency of the production team, for the right reason, there's not a criticism, or a simple observation and a matter of fact, they would try to go for the seed production in a proven areas, right? And there the competition hits up among various players, and they keep increasing the seed cost. Up to a point, market will take it. Beyond a point, market will not take it. And therefore, the companies need to really go open the new countries, new geographies, new state, and this requires resources in SPR. So this is part number one. Part number two, seed production technologies, which we have. And the seed production team need to be, exposed to those technologies available around the world. Like farmer needs, besides your good genetics, also requires advice on variety of areas, technical advice on agronomy part of it. This, I think most of the companies are doing it. But I think they require advice on crop protection product. They also require access to the digital platform which are emerging right now. So there's the service delivery, product delivery by instant happening there, and also access to the capital finance. I think that is always a challenge in the developing economies, whereby financial markets are not fully developed yet. Like if you go to OECD countries, farmers get access credit via the various institutes very easily. Institutional mechanism are in place, policies are in place. In case of something goes wrong, government comes to the rescue. Very well defined processes in OECD countries under WTO compliant, the way they make it. And there is a challenge in the developing part of the world. So to me, seed industry is gearing up for that. In fact, I requested for the change in the program because I'm flying to Barcelona tomorrow for IFS, International Seed Federation, ISF. And we are meeting after 3 years, looking forward to learn a lot from industry players around the world, what is happening and what are they doing it. And I'm sure that next opportunity, if I get it, I would love to share with all those who are interested on the workshop today. So that is one part of it. Second part is seed models, business models. Current seed business models, all the seed enterprises around the world, they are designed inherently for OECD countries. And I think they have reached to a plateau. So some of the organizations are reinventing their business models so that they can also serve and successfully service the market in developing economies. But there is work in progress. We are seeing it. Some are succeeding, some are failing at a huge human cost, because M&A is a sign of that scenario, that organizations realizing that current models are not working. They are inventing new models. So last 3 years, 4 years in seed industry, if you see it, highest amount of consolidation happen. And there is a work in progress, and see how new organization comes up, which takes care of the evolving realities on a seed industry in our space. Coming to, let's say, farming areas, how do we make it profitable? I think there are two trends are coming up very clearly for farmers. Number one, besides giving the standard product and the services, agronomic services primarily, technical advisory, etc., I think organizations are realizing, seed industry is realizing that they need to use the digital platforms we are available. We learned in last 2 years in pandemic time how digital has changed life. Very fact that I got an opportunity sitting in my home addressing 150 participants from various parts of the world and various parts of the institutions operating from various places is a miracle in a way. Is a miracle of a technology, science and technology. To my mind, this benefit now has to cascade down to the farmers. Very fascinating things happening in this space. Almost all the companies report, if you read it, organization report, if you read it, even government organization, if you say, they are working out a platform ecosystem whereby farmers are getting easy access at economical rate to their product and their services. And probably Amazon of the world is evolving in agriculture. Many companies are working on it in that front, including us. We have initiated a tech platform called nurture.farm. If you Google it and you see it, is in Bangalore. 2 years back, we had 2 employees we started with. I met a CEO recently, and he scaled up that organization from 2 to 300 employees. All are tech, from the tech world of the big names, Amazon, Google, LinkedIn, all these people actually. They have created an ecosystem, and now they are working out a business model where they can give services directly to the farmers, which includes knowledge, which includes services, which includes selling and buying products, helping farmer to sell their produce, etc., etc. So and that is a reality in many other organizations. If you really scan that, so which is fantastic thing. So this, in my opinion, will help farmer to have easy access to knowledge and the services and the finance, etc., which will cut down the inefficiency of the current system, which is delivering them. On the other side, I think financial services, farmers need its easy access to the farm loan, money whenever he wants, without much of paperwork, documentation, and delay, because farming is all about time-sensitive activity. And there also now governments are evolving the policies which is facilitating easy access to the finance to the farmer at a reasonable price. Third is the insurance services, because farming is a very risky business. Weather changes, the climate impact is happening there maximum. I mean, give an example, like last month we got a report that in Argentina, our seed production team gave a report that whatever production they had planned, they will get only 65% of the production. In some product, actually only 60%. 40% of seed production we lost. It's a huge loss to the organization. More than that, there are farmers who are dependent on the Advanta, on some of the crop where we have a very strong position. What do we do with those products? Right. So another real life challenge. So we are trying to fix it now. There is a challenge. Our seed team is working that. How do we make sure that same product which goes into Argentina, we also can produce in adjoining countries, right? And then so that in this kind of scenario, we can de-risk it by producing it multi-location. There are challenges with that. Movement of the parent seed is a challenge because every company has their own country, has their own rules, regulation. We are working with the authorities in these areas, but these are the challenges coming up, but also there are solutions working together and the private sector, public sector, and government. And third part is, so that is a interesting way of dealing in making sure that farming is profitable to the farmer. And last point, of course, humanity part, I explained. We have talked a lot actually in one decade, 2 decades, or 3 decades probably. I always believe that jargon comes in. New, like, agrochemical, when you look at IPM, integrated pest management, in general, in agri-food system, they talk about sustainability. But you know what? Before it really start taking a real concrete say and definition, it takes time. Sustainability, probably all of us or some of us must be using it for many, many years. But you ask retail, how do you define sustainability? If you ask 10 people, there will be 10 definitions. But now those are they are conversing it, because every organization now must demonstrate their definition of sustainability. Not only that, develop the metrics by which you will develop the baseline, and then you will be measuring the progress. Like carbon credit market is coming up. How for every activity of humanity in agriculture, what we do, what is the carbon credit generated, and how can we really reduce it? For example, in Argentina, university came up with a proposal to have a couple of players from the private sector and themselves and their scientists. Now we have participated in one project whereby they are measuring that what is the carbon footprint of corn production versus soybean production versus sorghum production. So now they develop a methodology now to develop the baseline study for all those three. And what are the practices, right? And which are generating the carbons, positive and negative combined. And how do we really tweak those practices so that and start measuring it? So every farmer can measure that by doing this cropping system, this is carbon I am generating. By doing another type of practices in the seed, another set of carbon is coming out. Which one is producing less carbon or absorbing more carbon? We'll get a incentive. Carbon credit markets are evolving around the world now, in many countries now. They are generating the carbon. In fact, that can be a fascinating stream of new income for the farmer. And a farmer starts generating the carbon credit, and there are people let's say in the power industry who are buying them because regulation is demanding it, society is demanding it. So there's a market evolving. Farmer will have new source of income by generating carbon credit and selling it in the marketplace, and they start making money out of it. Now these are the innovative ideas, new trend coming up, whereby we can meet the challenges being posed to the humanity, to seed industry and the farming community. They are my top of my mind thoughts, which I thought I'll share with you. I finished my 22 minutes of expansion of my thoughts. I pause here, and over to you, Doctor.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Bhupen. It was really nice to hear your clear-cut thoughts on how the seed industry feels on the pinch of climate change, how prepared one should be, what should be the strategies. And based on this, there are a few questions which have come. One is from Dr. Sadananda. He says, seed production and seed quality is one of the main casualties of increased temperature, especially in the post-rainy season. What are the strategies likely to be adopted by the seed industry to resolve this critical problem?
I think, as I explained in my expansion of the thought, a very extremely important question you are asking. And this is the question I understand that almost all the seed players are asking themselves. I think the current seed production locations need to be reviewed. Though they are there for decades actually. Time has come, are they more relevant? I can share with you one of the things which we are doing in one of the country, right? How do we tackle that? So what we are doing is, there is a company in California called Climate AI. They are on the machine learning, big data analytics side of it, using the satellite data. So we have collaborated with them. What they are doing is, via satellite, using the satellite images, and the farmers who are interested in going in these areas, so they become member of our initiative, and their farms are being geotagged, right? And once they are geotagged the farm, the satellite company gives us a very sharp images. And then, as I explained to you, the data are available on the climate, all the weather data are available for more than 100 years in those countries. And they are trying to marry both, right? And then coming up, and then they are projecting that if the current weather trend continues, how many more years this particular farm will remain relevant for the seed production, and which part of the agricultural land will have more favorable weather, which is not a seed production farm. So then you are projecting the next 3 years, 4 years time, this farm will become irrelevant for seed production, and you need to move to 50 kilometers away, 100 kilometers away, and that is where we are likely to get more favorable weather for the seed you are growing. So we have already entered into the pilot project right now. We will run with them for 2 years, and once we realize that this has a lot of merit, we want to expand this collaboration in many more geographies. That is how we are tackling this challenge.
So it means that we need to be exploring new areas of seed production, probably.
Yes, exploring. I think exploration is ongoing activity in all the seed organizations. We know it, but the manner of exploration changes. What you achieve in 6 years' time, 5 years' time, probably you can achieve in 2 years' time by using this, the geofencing of the farms and marrying with the data from the satellite, and then your meteorological data. I foresee, in fact, I see in my own organization, I think we are, how we are taking a production location decisions currently. We do a lot of trial and errors are there. Okay, we go to a given state in a given farm and try it out, whether working or not working. If it's working, we figure out why it is working. Not working, logically, we try to figure out why it's not working. But you know what? We have another dimension coming up, third eye of the Siva, which is basically a satellite. Use that, all right? And in advance, you start really, it's like a predictive analytics. All the data, actually data are available today. Problem is, like we have a lot of satellite data available, a lot of meteorological data available, and a lot of agronomic data are available. So far, we did not have a capability. Now we have a capability with the technology. We can marry all the 3 data sets, agronomic and genetic data sets, and you have the satellite data sets and meteorological data sets. Now, in agriculture side, you do not have expertise on a second and third part of it. So probably my prediction, and we are going to actually explore it, we will have an agriculture meteorologist position to be created in the organization, right? Who are well versed with the meteorological data, and how do we marry with the genetics data, right? So for example, we ourselves are creating certain posts in USA, Australia, this kind of position, and probably I see that happening in next 2-3 years time in many part of the seed to help us, decide the future location for seed production.
So you talked about carbon trading. How do you think the seed companies across globe can capitalize on this as a business opportunity?
I think if you can search on Google, I think few advanced seed companies in US, already they have a very simple program actually. Simplicity is very, very important. And first of all, you ask farmer to do something extra activity than what he's doing, his plate is full. That means you need to incentivize. So what these companies are going, and a very simple example, I mean, there's a big subject, but just to give explanation of the point, let's say when you in a corn in US, you are getting 10 metric ton corn. Now, he has reached to this level of productivity with a lot of last 20, 30, 40 years of experience, tweaking, iterating. So it is a seed and the soil and the fertilizer and practices put together, his output is 10 metric ton. Now, how do you reduce the carbon in agriculture in that kind of industrial agriculture? Number one, fertilizer, what is required right now, it is very crude way of applying fertilizer. X metric ton of nitrogen in so many hectares, right? In that given hectare land, whether needs same amount or not, we do not know. We have a general trials, university, based on that we extrapolate and same recommendation goes into millions of hectares. Now the precision farming has come in. That means you can exactly measure while running your instruments in a 100 hectare farm, which part of the farm require a phosphorus and which does not require a phosphorus, or you could require a calibrated rate. So every farm should have a precise dosages and not a general dosages. So the moment you use those technologies and the moment you start calibrating those precision farming recommendation, automatically your fertilizer requirement comes down by 10, 20, 30, 40%. The moment you cut down your fertilizer usage in your farming without impacting the yield, to that extent you are saving the carbon. Same is agrochemical. I was in last week Mumbai and talking to this couple of companies. They say that they are now government of India is, I think, very progressive. I was very impressed. I think they have come out with the directions on the drone application in agriculture, use in agriculture. So this company is now, I met the gentleman, he's going to buy 2,500 drone in next 10 days time. What for? Using the agrochemical and providing this service. The moment you do that, the agrochemical consumption is a precision spraying happening there. So will cut down dramatically there without negative impact on the results, right? So if that happens, because agrochemical production also, agrochemical by and large are basically based on the petroleum products. So you cut down the carbon there. So all this saving possibility of carbon, you can really save it, and then you are generating that carbon saving, and you can sell on the exchanges. Government in various, I think Brazil government has come out with the guidelines. Various governments are coming out with the guidelines. In fact, I see in next 2-3 years time, carbon trading exchanges are coming up. The way we have stock trading happening, commodity trading happening, bullion trading happening, I see the carbon trading happening there. Right now it is happening informally in many parts of the world. In fact, our group is the first one who generated and sold, I think 25,000, if my figure is correct, carbon for the first time. Like farming practice in Punjab and Haryana is generating a lot of political debate every winter, because farmers are burning those stubble of the paddy farm sometime in November, December before they plant go for the wheat. They're burning it, and the huge smoke and the smog and going into Delhi, and every year same story. So our organization created a template model. I think they are deploying it right now in a massive scale actually, and they have taken a challenge that how can we cut down this emission, the burning of the stubble, which is creating a lot of health problem to the humanity. While doing that, how do we improve the carbon content of the soil and also profitability for the farmer? Now that is a kind of a challenge our organization has taken up, and we are the first one who generated that carbon credit, and I think already sold carbon credit. Right now, we're very pioneer in this fund, and if these are the models our organization is working in 3 countries. Brazil, we have Brazil, India, and Australia. Organization has taken a gigaton challenge. All right, 1 gigaton carbon to be saved, removed from the environment is something our organization at the global level has taken this challenge and deployed via open ed philosophy. We are identifying the technology, people, business model with an open mind and trying to work out identify the pain point of the society and the farming, and have a totally different approach. The current approach of the industry is, I have this product, I have this technology superior than the competitor, go and sell it. It's not going to work. It has worked actually. I will say it has worked so far, 30 years, 40 years. But now next point is, what is the real problem in this area? Like Punjab stubble burning is a problem. It's a pain for the farmer. Farmer don't like to be abused by the people in the cities. Cities don't like it. They like it, their wheat actually. They like their paddy, but they don't like the smoke coming out of the Punjab and Haryana in Delhi. They don't like it. So how do we identify the pain point for the society and find the solution and develop it? So develop a business model whereby technologies and professional talent all created an ecosystem and they will solve the problem. So around the world, we are identifying such challenges. So we call it pain point of a society, and how we really contribute in solving it is the approach which we have as a part of the open ed philosophy at our group.
One more question is, there is a monotony in the industry in the kind of crops they trade in terms of seed, 5 or 6 major commercial crops. Do you think underutilized crops do have a place in the commercial landscape of the seed industry?
I think this was a brilliant question and very dear to my mind actually. I keep reflecting on it a lot and try to connect the various dots. Health of a human being and thereby by extension of animals dependent on us or we depend on them is related to the biome in our stomach, that the microorganism in our stomach, and their diversity is linked to the health of our brain. All research papers are available now. This coordinate these events, how they are connected with, because of a monoculture in agriculture, driven by the industrialization, efficiency, productivity, etc. What has happened that we had 24 cereals around the world. Let's say before, I was reading one article in Nature, and they said when human beings were in a hunting phase, they used to consume product from more than 50,000 plants. That was a kind of diversity in a human being's food and therefore stomach. The moment the hunter-gatherer farmer became a farmer, hunter-gatherer human became a farmer, settler, then the equation changed. Today they say our calorie consumption of 60% is coming out of only 3 cereals, or 3 crops, primarily corn, soybean, and wheat. These 3, we get about 60% of the calories. So the positive thing, it has done a lot in terms of bringing the industry where we are. But now when too much of monoculture happens for too long period of time, you know the downside. And therefore downside we are seeing everywhere. To my mind, therefore, the time has come for other crops, which we call it minor crops or marginalized crop, to really come into radar. And I think your institution is doing a wonderful job. When I visited last time to you, and what you are doing is amazing. I think creating a waves around the world. And I have become a big follower of that. I read a lot. The knowledge all of you and your team has generated, not only academic knowledge, but also the incubation concept we are working with is amazing, very inspirational. Wherever I go around the world, I have an opportunity, I talk about the model you are developing. And in fact, more and more organizations aligned with that kind of thing and start championing it. And therefore, you will see that one of the things in organization, there's a tendency, how do we remove the complexity in product portfolio by cutting down the crops, cutting down the SKUs. So you become more productive. But I think there's a diminishing law of return in economics. We have reached to that point. Time has come to really revisit this thinking. At Advanta, we are revisiting that thinking. You look at our portfolio. What is the differentiating part of Advanta portfolio is that we have a diversity of crops, right? We look at the country and look at the need of the country and then define the portfolio. And therefore, country has a powerful role in our organization and not the central organization. But the headquarters will decide the crop and then allocate the resources. So the point I made in my earlier comment is change in the business model is required. And I think a couple of companies I have seen recently, they used to have all the power of decision making on the portfolio, on the services, on the people, on the resource allocation, used to be in headquarters, global headquarters, sitting miles away, right? They are focused too much on the economic output of the organization, return on investment for the shareholder. Now that model is not working because nobody would like to be a part of the organization, employees especially, whose organization is coming in the newspaper for negative reason all the time. We know a couple of organizations in the seed industry. Their employees' children do not like them all doing job there. Why? Very successful financially, but they are considered as insensitive to the societal need, insensitive to the environmental need, and therefore such organization cannot sustain for a long time. So for the interest of the organization in the seed industry, it's important that we do the business which is good for the country and the society, and in the process redefine the portfolio, redefine the services and offering, right? Then and then this seed industry will regain their credibility and relevance in the organization.
So in doing so, because nowadays the crop improvement programs are delivering what is called as the biofortified crops, enriched nutrition in a grain. Can there be an opportunity to tag them with higher pricing and trade them in a different way? Or will it go just like a normally bred variety, which is inferior in nutrition, basically? Or the yeah.
This is a very important point actually you're asking. I have a very simple example I keep going people. I think seed industry has opportunity in this area to do a lot, and industry is not doing a lot because most of the product, see, is a highly scientific product. Seed is a highly scientific product, technological driven product. Any feature you want to incorporate in a seed has a lot of genetics and plant breeder working on it. The moment it is in the hand of the commercial team, now the quality of the commercial team has to undergo a change. Orientation has to undergo a change. Current approach which I have seen in industry, in commercial team is, you go for Moai corn because it is giving you 3% more, or 4% more, or 5% more, or you can plant early, or it is tolerant or resistant to XYZ pest. These are the talking points. From here, the talking point has to undergo a tremendous change. And I give you an example. We need a marketing teams from a consumer product companies in seed industry. Though they understand the value pricing a lot. For example, we use Apple. Apple phone is 1 lakh rupees per piece. But there are other companies, Samsung and Huawei and other companies, same feature, you get in 50,000 rupees, 60,000 rupees. You go another version, same feature, you get in 25,000 rupees. But why people are paying that much? Because the features are being marketed from a value creation point of view, value-added point of view, and not a cost plus pricing. So I think there's a good scope in a value pricing strategies. Why it is important? Because if you develop a new feature, like for example, fortification, we are marketing fortified corn, having a high vitamin A in Zambia. I think we sold for the first time last year, and results are very good. What was the theme? In fact, the university, we took a research from the university, have a licensing in, and one NGO. And NGO found that in few villages in those countries, they have a night blindness because of the vitamin A deficiency. There are two ways of handling this problem of human health. One is pharmaceutical, give a tablet, vitamin A, make them dependent on the tablet throughout their life. Second is, whatever they are eating, can we enhance the vitamin A in those component? Yeah, science can do it. Science has done it. They have increased the component of vitamin A. I don't remember the numbers, but significant number. I think 12, normal 7 or 8 point to a 12 point, and now new varieties are coming at a 16 to 18 points, which is significant. We licensing the product, tied up with the NGO, and NGO is educating the farmer. I'm so happy. Only difference is that farmers are used to use white corn, but this is available only in orange or the yellow corn. So there was a change in the food habit. But that couple of NGOs which are aligned with us, they are doing a wonderful job at educating, demonstrating, etc. And they already converted those villages, and we sold last year first time a vitamin A enriched corn, right? And now demand is going up next 3 or 4 years time. We are setting up a production team. We are setting up a processing team, and we want to take a lead in this area, right? Couple of same products are coming up. I understand in India also, but as you rightly indicated, research need to be funded. From where the fund is going to come? Unless you do a value marketing, right? And then somebody is taking a vitamin A pills, remove those pills from the system, and then put it part of your food. So your point is that, is there a possibility of high price? Yes, there is an increased value added, value created, but also value need to be communicated. Then and then consumer will appreciate, and they will pay the price. Otherwise, consumer will not the price. So there is a good opportunity here for all of us to incorporate that kind of thinking and sophisticated marketing.
Yeah. So just to add a new dimension, there are two questions which I'm just trying to club. The CSR of industry, seed industry, when we are talking different portfolios and nutrition, some part of CSR for social development processes, nutrition in downtrodden classes, can it be a reality instead of just investing here and there? I think it creates more social impact basically.
Can you help me understanding this?
We were just looking at the CSR investment opportunities. Can CSR from seed industry will be able to invest in nutrition programs in the country so that we address the zero hunger, malnutrition, and supplemental programs which government is already doing. Probably more of this of CSR can really help the downtrodden society.
I have strong opinion on the subject, but very controversial, so I will keep myself away from this topic to go into detail, because, you know, first of all, as a society, we need to be affluent driven, create our own, become more productive economically ourselves. Support from outside world sometime, and there's a big debate going on in IMF, World Bank, becomes addictive.
Yeah.
Right? I'm a downtrodden, I have a need, somebody is helping me, but helping me for what? Not to go through that day and a week, but also allow me to stand on my own feet. If that is a goal, then these programs are good. But if that is not a goal, then actually it becomes addictive. I look forward to that all the time, and it has to come in all the time, and society doesn't remain productive, doesn't grow, doesn't progress. To me, my thinking is that very simple. While I may quote some controversy, governments are for what? We all pay taxes, whether it is individual or the corporate. So that government job is to make sure that there are things which individual cannot do, individual company cannot do, only government can do it. For example, transaction, digital infrastructure India has created is amazing. I mean, nowhere in the world you can buy 10 rupees tomato or 20 rupees tomato by showing them the mobile. Right? Nowhere in the world. Amazing thing India has created. This is what government can do it, and they are doing it. We all are very proud of it, and that is what the tax money should go in. Make people, do it themselves. Provide an enabling environment. Access to roads. There are some research in agriculture economics available. In a village, there is no access to road, and he has to produce and sell, vegetable to a city. The cost and wastage is too much. Just provide them access to road, and that income goes up dramatically. This is what the government job is. Private sector job is to take care of stakeholder who are putting their stake in the organization, right? Means what? The people who are putting money in with expectation there will be a reward. Employees coming in, they are putting their life in, develop the career and have a meaningful income coming out of it. To develop the product and services, consumer or customer, farmer in our case, benefit out of it and make money out of it. So all the stakeholder must create a value for each other. Then and then organization becomes sustainable. Now by fiat, by rule, government say private sector must put X amount of money and run a CSR. People who know how to make money, there are people who know how to spend money, and both are different skill set. And therefore, you check your own house, you are making good money at the end of the month. But you know what? Who is a good spender? Not you, your wife. Because this is better negotiator. She does better job because both skills are good actually. It's a different skill. So government job is actually to take care of the societies and weak, downtrodden part of the society. If corporates are supposed to make money and pay taxes, out of the tax, the government should run the welfare schemes. Now you are forcing government, private sector, okay, you run CSR. You so in reality see how they run the CSR. Open your mind, you have a critical thinking, you see how they are running it. They are not competent. They will hire some NGO, give some money, and they will do something and show it in a 4 or 5 report, in their annual report. To me, I think we need to get out of this. I mean, personally, if you ask my personal opinion, though I'm on a holiday today, so it's my purely private opinion.
Yeah, one more question probably you will have a different answer for this. We talked of germplasm sharing of pre-breeding material, collaborative research, public-private partnership. So long, almost 15 years, we have seen many national conferences in India. What is the issue that really plagues either side of these, which have not come together on a common platform? I could see some of the countries where there are platforms which permit industries to share parental lines of other companies. And these things can also be created in India. I think that is where more and more fruitful impacts could be created among companies, between public and private research organizations.
Such a powerful question you're asking me, and I think we need to do something about it. If you do that successfully, we can unlock the value in our plant breeding significantly. Why it is not happening, my take, and I'm open to comment and criticism. I think when I compare my experience, I go to Europe, I go to US, Australia. What I'm seeing that there is a openness between the government, academia, and the private sector. Openness means that, let's say you take my job and I take your job to that extent. For example, like people who are academia, PhD, head of department somewhere, and suddenly you will find he is heading a plant breeding R&D of one private company. So there is a movement of the people across the sector. Same way, today I'm in a private sector, I can be a senior position in the government. So these countries have a very open, system whereby everybody is aware of other people's perspective. Like people sitting from private sector to the government or academia, they understand how it works. So there is a understanding of perspective of each other. They have developed the processes also, that there are concern of a country, because genetic pool, plant or animal or whatever it is asset of a country, should not be stolen away. If it is used for a productive purposes, all the stakeholders must benefit out of it. So there are agreements, there are processes all in place, robust one. It can be audited also. So there is a very good collaboration happening, and there is an environment of trust. In India, what I see, we go to academia, we go to government, we go to private sector. Officially, they may say anything. In reality, there is lack of trust. Not enough trust, right? And also, they have their own feeling of superiority for themselves. A private sector will say, okay, though all these people know, we know better. Look at the way we have done it. Who is contributing more in seed industry? It's a private sector talk, which is true. Vegetable segment, if you see today, all hybrids are coming from private sector, right? So they have their pride. Go to the government, they say government, public sector companies. What is their topic? Favorite topic is private sector is charging a lot. Right? They're exploiting farmers, profiteering it. When he listened to them senior level in public sector. Now you explain a lot of logic, but it doesn't work because something can come to your experience by experience only. I gave a logic to him. One gentleman from a public sector, senior position, asked me, Bhupen, in Chile, we are selling at 20,000 rupees a kilo and XYZ company is selling at 50,000 rupees a kilo. I said, very fact that the farmer is buying, that means he sees a value. If he doesn't see a value, farmer is not stupid, he will not buy. So that means that is definitely different than what you are offering. You are talking about cost plus, number one. Number two, in a given scenario, if a given product is delivering a superior value, farmer will buy, company will make profit out of it. That profit will be part of the saving of a company, which will go back into the R&D part of it after paying dividend to the investors. And that cycle has to continue. And suppose there is a bad time, you don't have a good product and good sale, company cannot survive, right? Company, you have to close the company and ask all the employees to go home. Can you do in government, private, the public sector? Suppose the public sector is not making money, immediately government of India will release 100, 200 crore to them. For private sector, there is no government of India. So, it's like a understanding from each other's perspective. And of course, government policy making. I was reading one statement recently that top official from a ministry, I think they say that they want public sector to play a big role in seed production rather than private sector. Now, when you hear this statement, as a senior leader of a seed industry, what do I think? I think that what these people are talking. On one level, they want to increase the profitability of a farmer, and they want to do it via government offices only, and via only public sector companies. Fine, do it. Make it a policy and close the public sector. So, these are the things doesn't make sense for the agriculture and the farming. It's important that all of us, and therefore visiting your center was amazing, eye-opening. You are a classical leader. I'm not really praising on your face, but I wish more and more Dr. Vilas Tonapi are there in our government system. They understand the perspective with an open mind and willing to share the knowledge and willing to take the knowledge also with a humility. If you do that, you are creating a tremendous value for the farmer and the farming industry and seed industry. I was so encouraged that I sent my own team to use this, go and learn. How do we collaborate? Because open ag is our philosophy now. We need to open ag. Wherever we find center of excellence, in millet, I think in the world, you are the center of excellence. You and your team, you've done it. Incubation was a fantastic idea. I never eaten this, like all the women coming in and cooking in the kitchen. What you have done is amazing thing. I wish more and more people can do this. Jointly, we can create. Now, having done that, a company like ours and few others can get inspired and say, okay, let's start focusing on other millet. Right now, we are focused only on the corn or the wheat or the soybean. Right? Can we focus on millet, which you have already more than a dozen, and bring it back to the plate of the human being, Indians and Africans and other part of the world. So to me, I think there is opportunity for us to all the new leaders coming in to challenge each other, change it. We can unlock tremendous value via this collaboration. More trusting, more collaborating, and holding each other accountable for the delivery.
Yeah. So thank you very much. One final question. How do you foresee better mechanization in farming and also in the seed industry to enable better quality seed access to everyone?
I think last 2 years, unfortunately, because of pandemic, traveling was not much, but I think pandemic also accelerated two things, digitalization and mechanization massively. Innovation is happening on the mechanization front, what I see it. Questions are being asked, can the current practices of disc tasseling in corn, for example, is human-centric in a big way. I'm taking a corn right now because that help us in explaining and understanding the situation better. So I think that is a digitalization and mechanizations are the way to go. And it is not a matter of choice because the cost of labor is increasing dramatically and that is not going to be cheaper going forward. And mechanical solutions are available around the world. I mean, we can reinvent the wheel if you want, but I always say that to our own team that, you know what, we call it that India has a small holders, small farm holding is smaller. But study at this farm holding of China and Japan, you realize that even they are smaller than us. But in both the country, mechanization is higher than us. So we have some people ahead of the curve. Go there, visit them, bring in some of the machines, make it suitable to our circumstances. And I think we can do wonders. Many companies are doing it. I'm very happy actually. Some of the farm machine companies are coming up. They're modifying their equipment, machines to fit our system there. So I think that is a very encouraging development there.
So thank you.